CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Havana calling. CQDX, CQDX, CQDX. This is Radio Havana calling all shortwave listeners and radio amateurs. Welcome to... DXers Unlimited, Radio Havana's weekly feature dedicated to the fascinating world of radio communications.
Hola, mis amigos radio aficionados and shortwave listeners all around the world. I am Arnaldo Arnicoro, your host here at DXers Unlimited, on the air from Radio Havana Cuba, with, as always, the most up-to-date information about this wonderful hobby that we all enjoy so much, the radio hobby. And by the way, today I'm using a telephone line linked to our studio, so you will notice restricted audio bandwidth. This was because we had some difficulties with the digital link. Here's now item 1, an update about the state of solar cycle 24. In 2016, officially there were 32 days with a daily sunspot number of 0. Considering the solar minimum won't occur for approximately 2 to 3 more years, seeing daily sunspots numbers of 0 occurring now is unusually early for a cycle. As we move forward towards the next solar minimum between solar cycle 24 and solar cycle 25, the number of days with a 0 daily sunspot number will steadily be increasing. Eventually, every day for many, many months, we'll see a 0, and the solar flux at the microwave frequency of 2,750 to 2,800 megahertz, that's the 10.7 centimeters band, will stay at the baseline level, figures between 66 and 70 units. Way back in 2008, one prestigious forecaster said that solar cycle 24 was going to be the weakest in the past 100 years. And that forecast became true. It was also said that upcoming solar cycle 25 would be virtually non-existent, similar to the Dalton-type solar minimum that occurred in the early 1800s. So it may happen that it will probably be very difficult to determine for us when solar cycle 24 comes to an end and solar cycle 25 begins. The transition phase between solar cycles 24 and 25 will be blurred, like erased. It will not be easy to recognize, so we must wait and see. Stand by now for a few seconds as we go ahead with the station ID. I'm your host, Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK. This is Radio Havana Cuba. The name of the show is DXers Unlimited, and here's our next radio hobby-related topic. This coming April 18th will go on the 92nd anniversary of YARU, International Amateur Radio Union Foundation. The Cuban Federation of Radio Amateurs, in Spanish, Federación de Radio Aficionados de Cuba, FRC, the acronym, wants to send their warmest greeting and congratulate all ham radio colleagues of all around the world through International Amateur Radio Union member societies, particularly those of you that are part of YARU Region 2 in the Americas. This year, the celebration is also linked to the International Girls in ICT Day, which will be celebrated next April the 27th at the initiative of the International Telecommunications Union, the ITU, Specialized United Nations Agency, an activity that all YARU member societies are going to join. Cuba encourages the presence of the younger generations in amateur radio through the circles of interest, where many radio clubs, municipal radio clubs, are present in coordination with the elementary, junior, and senior high schools and trade schools of the Cuban Ministry of Education, and all the other factors that participate in the vocational training of students. Amigos radio aficionados, please receive my congratulations on the upcoming World Amateur Radio Day. Now, item 3. Maritime Radio Day is held annually on the day the RMS Titanic started to sink. That was on the 14th of April of 1912. A tragedy that came to its inevitable conclusion in the earlier hours of 15th of April, when the boat finally sank into the cold waters of the Atlantic Ocean. And radio, yes, radio communications were vital in aiding the rescue of those who survived. And Maritime Radio Day celebrates a global telecom service based on voice communications and Morse code. In history ranged from its inception on the world's oceans around the 1900s through to the arrival of the very advanced Global Maritime Distress Safety System, GMDSS, the Global Maritime Distress Safety System, that arrived in 1999, which brought a degree of digital automation to that service. Marine telecoms services use shortwave radio frequencies because those signals can bounce between sea level and the ionosphere high above the Earth. That allows modestly powered transmitters aboard ships to achieve global range. The lives saved from the Titanic disaster are directly connected to the sending of a radio distress call that went on the air using the then emergency request signal, CQD. Da-di-da-di-da-da-di-da-da-di-di. CQD on CW, because the SOS distress call was not in use, although some records affirm that both CQD and SOS signals were sent by the heroic radio operator of the Titanic, who went down with the ship while sending many distress signals to the surrounding ships. What a difference from today's single-button GMDSS emergency signal, amigos. You just press the button and everybody around the world knows that you are in distress. Despite the most up-to-date technology available, ships continue to go down, typically due to severe weather events, like Hurricane Joaquin in the Bahamas that sent the cargo ship El Faro to the bottom of the Atlantic when it attempted sailing into the Category 4 and possibly Category 5 hurricane in the Bahamas waters. And now here at DXers Unlimited is Ask Arnie, la número uno, the most popular section of the show. Today answering a question sent by several listeners that have already obtained their amateur radio licenses and are asking for advice regarding what equipment they should buy. Well, amigos, here's what I recommend. Buy yourself a 2 meters band, inexpensive handy talkie, a walkie-talkie. Nowadays in some parts of the world, 2 meters band FM band radios are sold at rock bottom prices, and they are very good indeed. Despite the excellent quality of the rigs and how well they are built, they are inexpensive. Your second radio must be a shortwave bands capable set, of course, and that may be mucho more complicated because the range of complexity and prices available are really hard to believe regarding the HF radios. Looking at the most recent advertisements I have seen, I cannot locate a real entry-level high-frequency transceiver at what could be described as a shortwave bands beginner's radio. I think it's missing. Those who may approach that description when bought brand new may prove to be pretty expensive indeed. You should also look for 2 antenna systems, one for use on the VHF 2 meters band and capable of operating also on the UHF 70 centimeters band, and a general purpose wire dipole antenna for operating on at least from 40 to 10 meters. And notice that I don't even mention 160 and 80 meters amateur bands because my long-time experience tells me that such large-size antennas are not very user-friendly for beginners. Now yet another Radio Hobby item here at the weekend edition of DXers Unlimited, coming to you from sunny La Havana, Cuba. You can reach me by sending email with your Radio Hobby questions, signal reports, and comments to info@enet.cu. Now, once again, I will use the International Civil Aviation Organization voice phonetic alphabet. Info RHC in phonetic alphabet is India, Nancy, Foxtrot, Oscar, Romeo, Hotel, Charlie. That's the phonetic for Info RHC. Then the symbol for @ followed by ENET, that is Echo, November, Echo, Tango. The symbol for dot, and then Charlie uniform. Again, Info RHC at enet.cu, and via airmail, send your postcards and letters to Arnie Coro, Radio Havana Cuba, Havana, Cuba. And for your enjoyment, amigos, more about the results achieved from my most recent single vacuum tube regenerative receiver that tunes from 5,000 to 10,000 kilohertz, that is from 60 to 30 meters wavelength bands. The radio requires the use of a pair of classic high-impedance headphones that must be at least of 2,000 ohms impedance. It uses a home-built power supply that provides 6.3 volts regulated direct current for the filaments of the single pentode type 6AK5 or any of equivalents, near equivalents like the ruggedized 5654 used by the all microwave radio relay systems, or the Russian 6ZU HE1P, that's 6 Zulu Hotel Echo 1B, that's a Russian-made 6AK5. The plate power supply requirement for the radio to provide optimum performance need not be higher than between 45 and 90 volts. Current drain is minimal, and you may want to include a voltage regulating Zener diode too. It is really amazing to pick up very weak signals using the minimum parts count regenerative radio that can also be built using a low filament voltage vacuum tube like the 3S4, so it can be powered from 2 batteries, a single double-size, AA size metal hydride, nickel metal hydride rechargeable battery, feeding the parallel connected filaments of the 3S4, and a stack of between 3 and 6 series connected 9-volt batteries. Because the old 45, 67.5 and 90 volts classic batteries of yesteryears are very hard to find if you can find them. And now at the end of the show, as always, when I'm here in sunny La Havana, Cuba, here's DXers Unlimited, high frequency and low band VHF propagation update forecast. Solar activity at very low levels with bare minimum rock bottom solar flux not higher than 75 units. But during the evenings, conditions are good on the 40 meters amateur band, also on the 6 megahertz and the 60 meters international shortwave broadcast band, 49 meters, and 60 meters tropical band. And again, my apologies for recording the show via the telephone link because we did have some trouble with the digital link. See you at the weekend edition, no, at the middle of the week edition, I correct. Middle of the week edition of DXers Unlimited, next Tuesday and Wednesday UTC days, amigos.
And that's all for today. This is Arnie Coro, Radio Amateur CO2KK, your host here at Radio Havana's DXers Unlimited, saying 73 and very good DX.
And you've tuned to Radio Havana Cuba. We're streaming audio on our website at